Something bugging you? Come on in. Let's go for a drive. On my way to pick up Dr. Kathy Koch, author of 8 Great Smarts, and some other books. Here in her cabin, and she's going to come out and join me. There she is. Hi, Dr. Kathy.
Hey, Trip.
Come on in.
I hear we're going on an adventure.
We are. This is Rosco.
Hey, Rosco. And I fit.
Of course.
Like I wasn't 100% sure when you invited me to have an adventure with you.
There is a seatbelt.
Okay.
Not the easiest to get to.
All right.
No worries.
Let's see here. All right. So how did you name it Rosco, or shouldn't I ask?
My co-host for Summit Online helped me name Rosco, but there you go. Yeah, Rosco got his name. Okay, they helped me come up with it. They came up with a list of like old country kind of names, like hillbilly sorts of names.
Interesting.
And Rosco is a character, the sheriff on a TV show that I used to watch. Like, yes, that's perfect.
I love it.
So Rosco.
All right, Rosco. Where are we gonna go?
He fits his personality. He's classy, but kind of redneck at the same time.
Classy. All right.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell?
If you say so. That would be a word we could look up in a dictionary.
Rosco, be careful. He gets offended easy though, so you have to be careful.
Oh, I'm sure that you're right. I'm very inexperienced when it comes to things like this. So,
well, something you are very experienced with is education, as you were or are an educational psychologist. Is that where your degree is in, correct?
Right.
So I have a question for you, something that bugs me often. I come across students who are brilliant, but they have not made good grades in school, and therefore they feel lesser than, or they feel stupid, and then they often live out that identity they think that they have. Whereas when I meet them, man, they're so talented in so many other ways that don't always show up in the school system, in a school setting. So I thought maybe you could help us understand that a bit better, and what are ways we could encourage students who don't fit those typical norms of school smarts.
I love that. I meet them too. Oftentimes, standardized assessment, end of chapter exams, final exams, those kinds of things, they don't work for creative, smart kids. In fact, those of us who are curious and are well-read, who are creative and think beyond what a teacher requires, will have a right answer that isn't listed. And therefore, every answer there looks wrong.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's part of the dilemma, is having a lot of good insight that isn't necessary for a limited assessment that a textbook or a teacher designed for a limited number of students. And bright kids with large vocabularies, well-read, experienced, who enjoy life and learning, they just don't fit. And so I hate it for them as well, that they feel less than.
Right.
They don't show up, they don't volunteer, they think, well, my brother's a smart one, why bother working on an advanced degree? Not that an advanced degree means much. Like my PhD means I had a career goal and I had to earn a PhD to fulfill it. It doesn't make me smarter, mean I'm smarter than you. I have a whole lot of information about a very little bit. Now not every PhD person would say it that way, but that's what I think is true. So that's what I would say to those young people, is believe life and not an assessment. How do you live life? Are you bright? Are you conversational? Do people come to you for insight? Do you have great ideas at committee meetings? When you look at things, does your mind go in a variety of directions? Do you embrace much of life? I would say then there's proof there that you're bright and that you're talented and there's skills yet to be developed. I would say, and I say this carefully, dismiss the system that says that logic smart and word smart people are the school smart, book smart people. Because one of the things you and I talk about, Chip, is that there are people who do very well in school and they're not doing well in life.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people who do really a bad job in school and they're acing in life. Mm-hmm. And I like to tell parents and educators the purpose of school is to get you ready for life.
Yes.
Right? Not to get you ready for school. I would rather have young people be successful at this thing called life. Mm-hmm. So they have to work beyond the defeat of the system.
Okay, and so, yeah, this could get on a different conversation. Okay, so what about this system? Like, but
What about this?
right, but there are ways I think we can use even the existing system for what it is, and allow that to aid our education. But if we think that is the education that is going to prepare us for life, then we're mistaken.
Yes.
Accurate? Okay.
Yes, I would say so. You know, if you think, one of the ways I like to present it to young people is that in real life, the life that you and I live as adults, we don't spell for 20 minutes and then do math for 45. You know, we don't do economics for an hour and a half Tuesday, Thursday morning, and then, you know, civil rights or, you know, whatever. No, in life, it's all this mush, right? It's all this mess of things that come together. So that's why I would prioritize problem solving and decision making and, you know, identity and authority, and how do you discern truth over a little bit of truth, etc. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know that your book, 8 Great Smarts, has been so helpful to the students that I work with, but also to my own kids in helping us as parents understand who they are, and so we can capitalize on their gifts, but also strengthen their weaknesses to make sure we're giving them a well-rounded educational experience. What would you say to students who have grown up, you know, in systemized education with this really limited view of education, and now they're finding themselves kind of stuck because they haven't succeeded? What should they do? Like, what are some practical advice to move forward?
It's a great question. I would say respect the system for what it is. You know, it was designed to teach a multitude of students of a variety of ages and grades and abilities in a set number of minutes per day. So it is what it is, and it's relatively effective for the majority of the kids who are there. But again, if you don't fit there, that's okay, because look at life, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So you have to learn as maturing young people and adults to work the system well, respect your authority. You know, kids tell me all the time, school isn't fun. I'm like, look it up in a dictionary. It doesn't say a fun place. You know, and they'll say, boy, it was really hard. I'm like, good. You're supposed to not know it all. If you already know it all, you wouldn't need to be there. And I'm like, that's, you know, the purpose of school. So wrap your mind around that. And then live for life. You know, recognize what is it that you're going to do next based on who you think you've been designed to be, where your joy is, where are you delighted, where are your passions, and what do you know that's available that would meet those passions. And if you don't know, because of limited experiences, then you ask questions, right?
Yeah.
You look around, which adults in your church and community and place of work seem to be really living a vibrant life. Well, how did they figure out how to live a vibrant life, and what would that look like for me?
That's so good. So I want to recommend to anybody listening your book, 8 Great Smarts. Can you give us just a little pitch, a brief summary of what you're trying to achieve in that book, and then tell us where we can find not only the book, but other resources you think would be helpful?
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. So yeah, it's called 8 Great Smarts, Discovering and Nurturing My Child's Intelligences. So it is a book for parents, although lots of young adults and even teenagers, as you know, enjoy the book because it's written conversationally, it's very practical. You know, it has hundreds of ideas about how to learn with each smart, because that's part of my goal, is to get you out of the box that you can only learn in one way.
Yeah.
And then spiritual development and behavior and careers, and how can I even volunteer and serve according to the way that God's wired me to be smart. So it's called 8 Great Smarts. I think it's super readable. Our website is celebratekids.com.
Okay.
People can find it there. Dr. Tom Armstrong is another author who's written accessible books on this topic that are very, very good. Dr. Tom Armstrong. Dr. Gardner is the researcher whose work I've taken and added the Christianity and the practical truth to it. Okay. I don't recommend his books, quite frankly. They're, unless you're super word and logic and nerdy, they're very long and very detailed, and most of us don't need to read those.
Well, your books are very accessible, but they're not dumbed down at all. They are fantastic.
Thanks.
They've been so helpful for my family, and like you said, for students, even though that wasn't your intended audience.
Yeah,
it connects with them.
Yeah, I think I might one day write a book just for them. But right now, I'm really grateful that they trust me and that they try it out. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Kathy, thank you so much for joining us on What's Bugging You. Can't wait to see you next time.
I love this. You're welcome.